y'all, thanks for clicking on my video and welcome to my channel. I'm Kate with Simple and Healthy Mama. You clicked on this video because you are wondering what happens if I declutter something and then I regret it. You are not alone in this worry. I know because I hear from other people that they're worried about that, and I used to worry a lot more about that. I wouldn't say that the worry goes away 100%, but I'm here today to help you think about how you can declutter differently and think about things differently so that you don't have a lot of regrets. And if you do have regrets, what do you do about that? It is perfectly natural to worry that you will declutter something and then later want it again or regret it. And that can really be a hurdle for people in their decluttering process. Unfortunately, what results from that is people end up keeping too much stuff, more stuff than they can manage, more stuff than their home can hold, and their stuff becomes a burden to them. I'm guessing you're somewhere along that spectrum if you clicked on this video. But like so many things in life, not making a choice is also a choice. By delaying the decision about what you want to declutter, you're actually still going to face consequences like having to live with that stuff and deal with that stuff, clean it, maintain it, store it, put it away until you actually decide whether or not you're going to keep it and what you're going to do with it. What I want for you is what I have found for myself through my own decluttering journey, which is getting to the point where you have a more manageable home that feels like you can manage the amount of stuff that you have and live peaceably in your home, because your home really is for living. In order to do that, you have to get over this hurdle of being so afraid of decluttering because you might have regrets that you won't actually declutter. I know some people who have minimized a lot of their stuff say that they don't have regrets. I remember watching this video that Dawn, the minimal mom, who I love, put out. And what she was saying was she basically had no regrets. She had maybe gotten rid of one computer power cord that she regretted getting rid of because she then had to go rebuy it. That is fantastic. I love that for her. She is also already very good at decluttering. And I don't know that we can all expect, I wish I could promise that for you, but I don't know that we can all expect to be that good at decluttering that we just won't have any regrets. I wish that I didn't have any regrets. Wouldn't that be better? But sometimes I do declutter the wrong things. And I still recommend decluttering to everybody. And you really can't shut me up about it. What I can tell you for certain, though, is that I would rather get rid of a few things that I then regret getting rid of and have my home feel the way that it feels now over keeping everything just in case and having my home feel overwhelming and out of control. So how do you handle decluttering regrets? Step one, prevent them. Prevention. It's kind of like self-defense. They taught us in self-defense class, like the first step is always prevention. So if we cannot create decluttering regrets in the first place, that's the best case scenario. So you want to actually practice decluttering by starting on the easy stuff, moving to the harder stuff, so that by the time you get to things that you might truly regret, you have honed your skill enough that hopefully you don't make too many mistakes. So I want you to start with your easy stuff, not with your sentimental stuff. If you have to start with sentimental stuff, because let's say your decluttering project is downsizing an elderly parent or cleaning a home out after someone has passed, everything's going to feel sentimental. But even within that, I want you to think that maybe there are some categories that you can find that would be a little bit easier. So maybe just go and do let's say it's grandma's apartment. We got to clean out grandma's apartment. We're going to go to the pantry. This is assuming that grandma wasn't a big canner and it's not full of jars of homemade jam that are actually going to just leave you sobbing on the floor of the pantry. But if she's just a regular person, you go, you do the pantry. Maybe you do the junk drawer. You do her shoes. You do, the easy stuff, workout clothes, things that you're not sentimentally attached to, so that you kind of ease into it and build steam as you go. Another tip that I have is see if you can find somebody to work with you, especially if there are things that are sentimental. Try and find somebody who is not attached to those things. So I have helped people, I've been hired to help people clean out a home of someone who has passed, because it can be so helpful to have somebody else there who can be like, oh, you're really not gonna keep these tissue boxes that the grandkids colored on in marker. Like, we're really not going to keep that. If, it's your siblings and you're cleaning out your parents' home, that's going to be really charged. It's going to be much easier if you can get somebody in there, find a good friend, find a neighbor who can help you, or hire someone who does decluttering. If that is in your budget, that can be a really great option, because what we can do is decluttering experts and coaches can help you just see a little bit of reality. Like, okay, I know that you loved your grandmother's ceramic precious moments things, but you really only have space in your home for about 5 of these. So let's just pick out like the 5 most special ones. We'll take pictures of the rest, and then maybe we'll see if other family members want some of these other ones. So having somebody to talk you through it and help you through the emotional side of things can be really helpful. And having somebody to help you get rid of stuff when you've already made the decisions can be really helpful as well, just to lessen the strain and the emotional baggage that you have to handle as you're going through all of that. A decluttering coach can also help you just go through things a lot faster so that you don't burn out and so that you actually can finish the job and teach you the decluttering skills as you go. If that is not in your budget, I totally understand. I would then check out more of my videos and other decluttering videos that you can watch, you can listen to while you're doing other household tasks, and just learn more about decluttering so that you're better at it when you get to the really hard stuff. I would humbly suggest that you watch this other video of mine. I will actually link it down below so you don't have to click over to it now and miss the rest of this video, but I made a video about asking yourself better decluttering questions, and I think that would be a really good one for you to listen to in order to help hone your skill of decluttering. And I think watching that video will help you declutter without making mistakes, but also declutter more than you necessarily would otherwise, so that you can get your house to that point where it feels like it's actually really livable. I love to have YouTube on while I am doing other household chores. I'll have it playing while I'm doing dishes. There are a lot of videos that you don't actually really have to watch, like this one, where this is called a talking head video. This is me and my head talking at you. So you could play this while you're driving to do your kids' carpool. You could play this while you're doing dishes or other things, brushing your giant Bernedoodle dog, and learn about decluttering so that you're really ready to go when you have the time to actually tackle it. So learn how to declutter so you don't have so many regrets. Work up to the sentimental stuff if you can. Have somebody help you to do body doubling and give you doses of reality if possible. And play your YouTube videos while you're doing other things so that you are really getting good at decluttering. That will all help you prevent making decluttering mistakes. But sometimes you are going to make mistakes. I want you to sit with the idea that you might actually make some mistakes and have some regrets when you are decluttering. Ouch. I know. For some of you, that literally is going to cause like pain in your chest, or like you feel like you're going to vomit because you can't stand that idea. It's so difficult for so many people. But if you can't start to work through that and start to ask yourself, where is that coming from? How can I prevent that? You're not going to get to a point where you can really declutter and live in your home, which is what I really want for all of you. So let's play this out. You get rid of something this week. Next week, you realize you actually really need it and you have to re-buy it. Oh! But if it's not over a certain price point, and that's going to vary depending on the person, and it doesn't take too much time to find, it's not really that bad of a thing. And most of the time, it's not going to come up. Almost never. It's almost never going to come up that you have to rebuy something that you got rid of. I think we got rid of a couple of like air mattresses, and then we ended up buying new air mattresses later, and it was like, dang, we should have kept those. Well, we've moved 3 times since then, and so like there was some cost to keeping them that whole time, and they'd gotten cheaper and better in the meantime. It was not hard to rebuy air mattresses, and we weren't sentimentally attached to them, so it wasn't really the worst thing in the world for us. So it's not ideal if you have to repurchase something again. But remember, if it's not too expensive or too difficult to find, it might actually be less painful to have to buy it again than having to continue to store it. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe below if you're not already subscribed. If you are, thank you so much. I just hit 1,000 subscribers, which is a really big deal for a tiny little YouTube channel like mine. And I am trying to put out 1 video a week because YouTube just changed their monetization rules so that starting February 1st, you're going to have 8,000 watch hours in the last year instead of 4,000 watch hours in the last year. And I am trying to get monetized on YouTube. I would very much like to have this be part of my little business of home organizing and decluttering and YouTube. So help me out. Go ahead and watch more videos, share my videos, hit like and subscribe below. And thank you so much for being here. So this is why some people have a rule for themselves where they can risk getting rid of something that they think they should get rid of if it is under a certain threshold for how much time and how much money it would take to replace. I believe the minimalists call it, like the guys that are actually called the minimalists, I think they call it the 20-20 rule. So they suggested if it would take 20 minutes or less to replace it, and $20 or less to replace it, that you just go ahead and get rid of it. Obviously, everyone's lifestyle is different, everyone's situation is different. So it could be that for you, it's 30 minutes, $30 or more. You figure out what your threshold is where you wouldn't be brokenhearted or it wouldn't be a financial burden to have to replace something in the off chance that you actually needed to replace something that you got rid of. Another thing that I found with decluttering regrets is that most little regrets, most of the regrets are little regrets. So I might get rid of something and then want to use it and reach for it, and it's not there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I decluttered that. And then I just go without. I just make do with something else. This again comes back to asking good decluttering questions. When you're decluttering, if you ask yourself that question of what would I do if I didn't have this thing? The answer a lot of times is you would make do. So like you don't have the extra wide straw brim hat that you usually wear to the beach, but you kept your smaller straw brim hat that you can pack and take on vacations and wear to the beach. So you just do that instead. Great. Maybe your sister's been hosting all the holidays and you've been holding on to this folding table for years and never used it. And you're like, this is ridiculous. I'm going to get rid of it. Then your sister has another baby and declares that there is no freaking way she's going to host Thanksgiving this year. And you suddenly have to host Thanksgiving and your table does not hold everybody. Could you borrow the table from a neighbor? Could you ask on your local Buy Nothing group to borrow or be gifted a table? Could you get one at a thrift store, at a rummage sale? Absolutely. It's not that big of a deal most of the time. There are also lots of things that come up that I realize I've decluttered and I'm like, oh, I was going to use that. Oh, shucks. And then you just move on because you don't actually need that thing. So maybe it's the pair of shoes that you're going to wear with a dress and you're like, oh, it really only went with that one dress. And then you realize you've totally got a different pair of shoes that will work with that dress. And so then you don't actually really regret getting rid of it because you know that you've gotten your inventory down to a point where you can manage your life. Do you see where I'm going with all of this? It's okay to have some regrets, especially if there are things that you can get over really quickly. So we've covered what happens if you need to replace something that you got rid of that is easily and cheaply replaced. Now, the hard stuff. What if you get rid of something that you can't replace and you regret it? Ouch. That one really hurts, right? That one's what we're most afraid of. And it absolutely might happen. I'm sorry, but it might happen. It's not great, it's not ideal, but you can get through this. Let me give you some examples of this happening in my own life. My daughter, when she was younger, had 2 security blankets that she really attached to, an all pink fuzzy one and one that was white with green. And then as she got older, she decided that she really liked the pink one and she no longer really cared about the green and white one. And so she told me to go ahead and declutter it. Then she stopped being into pink, like at all. Like since then has not worn pink, touched pink, looked at pink, I swear. Really not a pink kid anymore. And the pink blanket is the one she kept. And she asked me what had happened to the other one. And we had gotten rid of it a long time ago. And I felt so bad. I felt like I had failed my child as a parent, which is like the last thing that you want. You don't want to cause your children pain. And I was like, oh no, I've taken decluttering too far. What did I do? But you know what happened then? She attached to this teddy bear instead and has been attached to that teddy bear ever since and literally has not since brought up the blanket. So even though I thought I did this like devastating thing by getting rid of it, even though she told me to, but she was a little kid, you know, and so I was like, oh, maybe that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. She is not scarred. She has moved on. She's fine, I promise. And so although I felt bad about it, what was the real result? Nothing. Everything was fine. It was fine. Another example is that we got rid of this pile of paperwork that I had from graduate school. So it was all of my notebooks, my folders, my syllabi, my graduate school textbooks. I had gone to graduate school for a teaching degree and I had been a teacher. Then I had been a stay-at-home mom and wasn't teaching anymore. And I thought, well, I probably won't need any of this stuff. We got rid of all of it. Then I decided to go back to teaching in a new state where I needed to renew my license. And I needed a couple of papers from that stack that I got rid of. Yikes. It was kind of a pain in the butt to have to contact my university and get the paperwork from them, but I was able to work through it and I was still able to get my license. And honestly, if I had kept all of that stuff, it still would have been a fair amount of work to find the 2 pieces of paper that I needed in these piles and boxes of stuff. If I had kept it all, I would have had to have moved it every time we moved and stored it the entire time. So again, there are costs to keeping things. Well, I wish I could tell you that I have no decluttering regrets and you won't either if you just learn to declutter perfectly. That would be lying to you, and that's not what I'm here to do. So, what I want to impart to you is that while you are likely to not do this perfectly and you're likely to have some regrets, probably the consequences of those regrets will not outweigh the benefits of minimizing your stuff and decluttering your home. The quality of life boost that you get from decluttering is worth the risk. So just remember, you're going to start with your easier stuff, work with a friend if you can, build your decluttering muscles, learn about decluttering, and then set a threshold for yourself of 30 minutes and $30 or whatever it needs to be so that you know what is going to be not too painful to get rid of. And then get going, dive in. You can do this. Good luck, y'all.